До слова запрошується речник Міністерства оборони України з питань.
Now the floor is given to Ministry of Defense spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, dear friends. We congratulate everyone on the victory day, the victory of Nazism. Ukrainian people will always remember the heroes and honor people who defended Ukraine from totalitarian regimes. We are grateful for courage and bravery to the Allied Nations Army, USA, France, Great Britain and its dominions and others. And to the heroes of all European resistance movement and to the members of Ukrainian national resistance movement, and we bow our heads to commemorate fallen soldiers and civilians. We greet everyone with this Victory Day, and we should remember lessons of the Second World War and to stay vigilant and to defend freedom, democracy and human rights and independence of Ukraine. Now, the information about ATO operation in more detail. Lugansk sector military actions yesterday were in Novodarsk and Popasnyansky regions. First, the militants delivered 2 night shellings in Novozvanivka using artillery of 122mm of caliber. And in the morning and at noon, the occupants twice shelled Krymsky with the use of mortars. After this, the enemy was active in Stanично-Lugansk region. There was a number of armed provocations with the use of small arms and grenade launchers in the regional center and in its suburbs. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Lugansk sector, there were 11 enemy shellings, including 5 with the use of heavy weapons. The Donetsk sector here, the most tense situation is in Gorlovka perimeter and also near Avdiivka. The militants conducted armed provocations with the use of mortars in Verkhnyotorets and Zaitsevo. And near Avdiivka, the enemy used mortars and artillery of 122mm. Also, there were enemy provocations in other sites in Lugansk and the Donetsk airport, including Pisky. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Donetsk sector, there were 18 enemy shellings, including 11 with the use of heavy weapons. The Mariupol sector. In Mariinsky region, military actions were in Mariinka and Krasnogorivka. There was 1 and 2 mortar shellings, respectively, and in Mariinka, a woman was wounded by machine gun fire, and in Novotroitsk, enemy snipers were active, and all other instances of ceasefire violations were in Pavlopil, Shirokina part of front line. Yesterday, the most tense situation was in Pavlopil, where Russian occupation forces for 2 hours delivered mortar fire at the positions of Ukrainian servicemen. Also, the militants used artillery in Gnutova and mortars in Vodyane. And on the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Mariupol sector, there were 21 enemy shellings, including 7 with the use of heavy weapons. During the last 24 hours, as a result of the military actions, 1 Ukrainian serviceman was killed. It happened near Slavne, and he blew up on an explosive device of unknown origin, and 9 servicemen were wounded during the last 24 hours. 5 servicemen were wounded in the region of Pavlopil, 2 in Avdiivka, 1 in Kamyantse, and 1 in Troitsky. Our hearts go out to the relatives of the servicemen who died. At Chongar checkpoint, SBU detained a traitor, a former serviceman of the armed forces of Ukraine who in 2014 defected to the militants, and Article 408 desertion of the Criminal Code of Ukraine provides big terms in prison for such crimes. SBU officers, together with prosecutor's office, detained a group of people who traded in ammunition that was illegally transported from ATO. And in the course of search in Odessa, Khmelnytsk, and Chernivtsi, law enforcers confiscated a big arsenal. These are machine guns, pistols, old rifles, 15 grenades of different systems, several TNT blocks, 4 signal flares, 4 signal mines, and 5,000 cartridges of different caliber. And also there was equipment for the production of battle cartridges. And they detained 5 people, including the head of this criminal organization. And in Kiev, an exhibition was open to mark the Day of Remembrance and Reconciliation. 16 big photos were presented. These are the pictures of servicemen of Armed Forces of Ukraine and the National Guard, and the photos of their relatives who participated in the Second World War. And the president at the opening of the exhibition said that this is the 4th generation of heroes who write the history of our motherland with their own blood and sweat. And one of the photos was the photo of Sergeant Andrei Rosnovsky and his granddad Grigory. Sergeant Andrei Rosnovsky of 64th Detached Cannon Artillery Division, 406 Detached Artillery Brigade of Marines of Armed Forces of Ukraine in January-April 2015 took part in ATO in Mariupol sector, and his granddad Grigory Rosnovsky during 1942-1945 took part in the Second World War in the framework of 950 Artillery Regiment, 389 Small Arms Division of the USSR Army, and he was a reconnaissance officer. He took part in Budapest and Wisla operations, and in 1945 he was wounded. He was awarded a Red Star Order, a Great Patriotic War Order of the 2nd class, and also a Medal for Courage. No questions? Thank you and goodbye.